Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Brown, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Prince George's County Memorial Library System, broadcasting from Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. I'd like to give a special warm welcome to Joy Bannister, who is our ASL interpreter tonight. We thank her and Novell for making tonight an accessible experience for folks. I have the honor of serving as the COO for communication and outreach at the county library here. We serve almost 1 million Prince Georgians in Maryland. And tonight's a very special event that we are co-presenting with our good friends at the Prince George's County Human Relations Commission, Joe's Movement Emporium, and the PGCC Center for Performing Arts. Tonight, we are thrilled to be joined by Laurieann Gibson, who is one of the few global artists who we can say has truly influenced generations with her iconic choreography, creative direction, and mentorship of young performers. She is a Canadian choreographer, director, TV personality, singer, actress, and dancer, and has choreographed numbers for artists like Alicia Keys, Lady Gaga, and Beyonce, and has also collaborated with countless others, including Diddy, Katy Perry, and Nicki Minaj. And we are so thrilled that she has added being an author to her roster of talents. She began her career training at the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater and transitioned to hip hop as director of choreography for Motown and Bad Boy Records, and has had a tremendous influence on the evolution of the hip hop genre. She is also one of the fabulous judges on So You Think We Can Dance, and I'm sure you've seen her on many, many other TV shows and specials. Laurieann will be in conversation with a dear friend of the library's, C. Lorenzo Evans III. Lorenzo is an internationally renowned executive, also a professor at American University and at University of Pennsylvania's National Arts Strategies program. He's also a creative entrepreneur who just happened to grow up in Prince George's County and has been connected to our library ever since he was a youngster who visited the Glen Arden branch. I encourage you to borrow Dance Your Dance by Laurieann Gibson from the library at pgcmls.info, or you can purchase a copy from our partner, Loyalty Bookstores, at the link that will be provided in the chat during the program. If you live outside of the area, you're also welcome to sign up for a free virtual library card with our system. You can just visit pgcmls.info, navigate to library card services, and sign up there. And you'll have access to our awesome collection of ebooks and audiobooks. All of us here at the library extend our thanks to Latasha Stewart Estelle and Allison Carter from HarperCollins, Joshua Bascom, and Dennis Disney for helping make tonight's event possible. I'm now going to turn the mic over to Shannon White from Joe's Movement Emporium, who will get us started. And then from there, we'll take it away with Ms. Gibson and Lorenzo Evans. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, I'm Shannon Ashleah, and growing up in the 90s and 2000s, I remember combing the television for dancers and choreographers in music videos and award shows that just looked like me. After watching MTV's Making the Band one time, I knew that Laurieann Gibson would be the reason I would keep watching season after season. Laurieann Gibson is a multi-gifted triple threat TV personality, choreographer, and creative director who's worked with many artists like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Michael Jackson, and Britney Spears. Her passion, drive, work ethic, and dance aesthetic inspired me as a young dancer, and then later as a choreographer and teacher. She continues to inspire with her new book, Dance Your Dance, 8 Steps to Unleash Your Passion and Live Your Dream. Please give the warmest and most energetic welcome to Laurieann Gibson.
Hi, Laurieann.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so amazing. Thank you for those introductions, and thank you for having me. This is so awesome.
Of course. It's so great to see you. You have been long been a huge inspiration of mine. So this is such an amazing opportunity to speak with you. So thank you for introducing your book to the world. It's such a powerful book, and I'd love to just know what inspired you to bring this book to the world at this time.
Honestly, it was truly a blessing from God. I did not know that I had a book in me. I did not understand that that book was going to be what this book is. I had written an outline in pursuit of a scripted show that I sold, that my nephew Joshua Gibson Bascom had put pen to paper. And when we read it, we realized that there was something there, that the methodology that I had designed, creating pop stars, helping them produce their vision, becoming their dream, was something that I wanted to connect to visionaries and entrepreneurs all around the world. And I didn't want to have to, have people know and be introduced to me just through the artists that I collaborate with.
Sure.
Directly to my gift. And so Dance Your Dance is that. It's 8 steps to unleash your passion and live your dream. It's not only inspirational, but it's transformative. So I'm very excited about it.
I love that. I love that. So what is Laurieann Gibson's dance? Like, what is the thing that you really ascribe to as your dance? Like, what's that for you?
Well, my dance, the dance that I dance is originality. It is totally accepting and embracing the dream that I was given, the version of that, the purpose of that, the road of that. So my rhythm, my dance is different. And that is one of the things that I definitely talk about in the 8 steps to living your dream, is identifying your passion, understanding your uniqueness, and not subscribing to a culture that wants to compare you to anybody.
Absolutely.
But one that supports the narrative of you dancing your dance.
I love that. I'm a business executive now, but I was actually a hip hop dancer for 20 years before being an executive. And I remember coming up to New York and dancing with you and just being under your tutelage. It was such an amazing experience. And so I remember some of the things you say, like when you're moving, you're coaching and saying, like, let it breathe, let it move. Like when people are dancing, that really comes through in your book. And it's such an honor to read your book and understand your perspective on things and to relive a lot of those moments. So thank you for that.
It was, well, I'm so happy to see you again. And that makes me very emotional, Lorenzo, because that is the same authenticity and purity and vulnerability that I put into the book. Absolutely. I did not want people to touch an idea of me, but I wanted to be brave enough to tell about the days that weren't so glamorous, about the fight that is in you pursuing your dream, and how can we inspire the narrative of the fight to feel like that is okay, rather than something you should fear.
I love that. One of my favorite things about you is like when you teach, you don't just go by counts, you go by the feeling. And so as a choreographer, you really taught me how to listen to the music and understand the sounds of the music and express myself in that way. Could you say a little bit about how you approach teaching when you're actually in the moment?
Well, I like to feel the room, for which we are in a different time in the world. So I like to feel the Zoom. I am very present in the moment. My gift operates in the moment. And there's power in understanding that, in carrying that. But the most amazing thing is that I feel everyone as an individual, even though I'm in a collective room and there is a collective messaging. The beautiful thing about when I teach is I look at each dancer as an individual.
Absolutely.
I identify their gift. I understand the uniqueness, and then I start to drive the inspiration into that.
Absolutely. I know a couple of times when I had the pleasure of dancing with you, you would just inspire me to keep my head up and to like listen to the music and to smile. You asked me a couple of questions. You're like, what are you thinking about? Like, why aren't you in the moment? You're not here, And so you really helped me be present as a dancer and as a choreographer. And I've taken that with me for my whole career. So thank you so much for that.
Wow. It's those steps. It's those moments that I was staying in my yes, which is the step 4 that I love in this book.
Absolutely.
My yes. How did I know that being authentic and staying in my yes would actually inspire such greatness as yourself, Lorenzo? So
thank you.
I'm very happy that there's also that encouragement, just hearing us connect, and people can identify with when I was in step 4. I did not know I would be in step 8, but in step 4, I stayed in my yes. And my yes was about speaking to a great artist like yourself, inspiring them. And that message was uh, timeless enough to last till today. So it is
Absolutely.
the power of staying in your yes.
Absolutely. I love how you share your relationship with God and how that's been such a powerful force in your life. Could you say a little bit about how you experienced God early in your life through your dance and your choreography?
Well, I always think I am because he is, you know?
Right. Yeah. Indeed.
And I'm
Indeed.
always like, okay, well, he gave me this gift. And that's why I believe if I can speak to your dream, I can speak to your circumstances because he is the giver of the gift and it is made perfect. And so once you hang on to that gift, the feeling of that gift, the passion,
The passion.
passion
The
in the
passion.
gift,
Absolutely.
the passion in Christ, it is perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, you teach passion. So it's like, what do you say to someone who lacks passion or lacks the ability to believe in themselves? Because that's a core part of Dance Your Dance is individuality and believing in yourself. What are some things you recommend for people who just don't feel that strongly about themselves or about their futures? What are your thoughts on that and empowering that?
Well, I teach them how to identify with what makes them happy. What do they think about when they want to do something? What when they're doing something that they love, whether it's cutting flowers, baking bread, the
Yeah,
law, architect. Oh, I'm obsessed with telling stories. All of those things drive a narrative that can lead you to living your dream. I tell them
absolutely.
that they're not connected with it because they're believing in the wrong narrative.
Absolutely.
I need to
Absolutely.
dance, which means in step one, I talk about daring to dream,
Mhm.
knowing that the fear is outside of the dream that God has given you. So I teach you how to align yourself with the feeling of what makes you happy, joyful, safe.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know? And that's where we can begin to identify what you're passionate about. Don't
I
be
love that.
overwhelmed if you don't know. Let's take it step by step. And in taking it step by step, we peel back and uncover and reveal something very intimate, something that was given to you the day you were created.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
so it's not overwhelming. It's not like you have to know it page one, page two.
Right.
It's something that will
Exactly.
reveal to you as you take the journey with me.
Yes, indeed. And I love how you wanted to be a dancer at Ailey and then you achieved that and then realized that you wanted to be a choreographer from there. Could you say a little bit about what that moment was like to reach a height that you had dreamed to reach and then you realized that that wasn't aligned with what you actually wanted to do or what your purpose was?
Well, here I was dancing for Mary J. Blige. I was like, oh my God, I just wanted to be a successful dancer. I wanted to work as a dancer. And obviously doing off Broadway and Broadway. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And then it was like I started to see the music. I had visions for the show. I was like, Mary, let's do this, let's do that. And I choreographed Missy Elliott's I Can't Stand the Rain video, and it came back and it was incredible. And everybody had such great things to say. And I was like, but wait a minute, I'm not a choreographer. Well, yes, you are. You're seeing
Mhm.
visions, you're seeing formations. You're trying to reimagine movement. You actually have a different syncopation and rhythm and methodology to the movement. Um, there's more you want to say with the movement unless you want to say with your mouth. Something's happening. Something's coming out of me. I'm becoming more than.
Absolutely.
But there was a moment where I had to stop dancing in order to be taken seriously as a choreographer, and I wasn't necessarily ready to stop dancing.
Yes, that's a wonderful point because I love how you pointed out because I had the same thing in my career where I wanted to dance all the time, but my calling was as a choreographer and as a visionary. So actually taking that step off the stage to actually, watch that happen. I read that part in your book and it really resonated with me. Could you say a little bit about what that was like? I'm sure that was a very emotional thing to actually have to step back from dance to be respected.
It was very lonely and it was scary
Indeed.
because all the dancers were like getting the accolades and stuff, and I was on the sidelines like watching it unfold. And I remember that I understood that when I dreamt my dream and the feeling of my dream, there was more to it. There was more capacity that I had to produce. So I kept going back to the feeling of the dream, and I talk about that in the book, because the feeling of just being a dancer, or not just, the feeling of being a dancer behind Mary J. Blige at the time did not align with the feeling of the dream. There was more to the feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I talk about that, understanding that in the book, because sometimes the capacity to do more creates fear in people. But it's not
Absolutely.
have a different dance than someone else. That is why it's important to understand how to dance your dance and no one else.
Absolutely. Indeed. You touched on something very, very specific about fear. And in the book, it talks about activating your faith to conquer fear. Could you say a little bit about how in many ways in your career, you've conquered your fear with faith?
Of course, I live by faith. That works is dead. And I used to be like, oh, okay, well, lean not to your own understanding. I understand that, God.
Right.
You told me to choose faith over fear. You said choose the version of me that I gave you, the truth that I gave you, the feeling of that, right? The fear is not of him, because there is no fear in what is already done.
Absolutely.
I'm choosing to understand that you need to take the moment where you face the fear, or the fear is trying to penetrate, and understand that it's an opportunity to strengthen your faith.
Absolutely.
That it is an opportunity to become the fuller version of yourself. That it's an opportunity for something to be deposited in order for you to live the dream.
Most definitely. A good friend of mine told me a couple of weeks ago, if it's not scary, it's not worth it. And, that's something I really definitely believe. It's you run towards your fears. You talked a little bit about rhythm. And so I know a lot of people want to know where the phrasing boom cack came from. And so I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what that means and how that resonates with you, and how you've actually changed the language of dance in your career.
Wow. Well, boom cack is a sound I make, right? Because my body is an instrument. When I choreograph, it's like an instrument in alignment with the music and the lyrics and the movement. It's about speaking without opening your mouth. So it's affecting an emotion in the atmosphere, So boom cack was like a sound when I wanted to accent the movement. And I realized every time that my heart and my soul connected to something, I would say boom cack. So it was really the passion and the soul of that passion trying to drive the intention into the movement, which is the choice a dancer makes.
I love that. I love that. And you have so many choices as a choreographer in your world. I mean, I read the part about where you were choreographing for Brandy and you got the call from Michael Jackson, and it was Brandy's first tour, and that, that was something you felt really torn about walking away from. I will tell you that that's some of my favorite work of yours on that Brandy tour. That Talk About Our Love choreography is insane. It's insane. And so I don't know if you remember, but when they performed that on Jay Leno with the
live band, I remember.
Oh my gosh. I have the tape of that. I actually VHS taped that, and it wasn't on YouTube for a really long time. It came up on YouTube a couple years ago.
She stressed me out because I was really obsessed with the intricate details. Brandy moves in such a powerful way. She moves so loudly when she's so still. It is like one of my favorite artists, because she can move a finger and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
It was so detailed. The movement was so subtle and so isolated. And because it was Timberland, who's the master of instrumentation, it was like the both of us had this symphony. But it was crazy because the dancers thought I was crazy. Brandy thought I was crazy. Everybody was mad at me. But when it was done, they understood where I was going. Yeah.
It was wonderful. And the live band, the choreo was just right on the beat. It was so crisp. And I could hear you saying boom cack on every part, that was so crisp and so cool. Could you say something about how that being torn about working with Brandy and then going to work with Michael Jackson? Could you say something about what that feeling was, and what was the presence of mind at that time?
Well, at the moment, I did not want to let Brandy down, because
I can understand.
I had responsibility to make sure that the execution of the vision was done right, because it really is about the execution. Once you get there, you the movement, you want to be there to make sure that the execution of the choices and the language and the tempo and the intention is right. So I did not want to drop the ball on that, but I was torn because I'm very responsible about my work and about my vision, and I didn't want to let her down. But she too was like, "It's Michael. You gotta go."
You gotta go. You have to take that gig.
Yeah. And then later I realized, I was like, wow, look what God was showing me. That's why I talk about in dance, your dance, no one else's. Look what God was telling me very early. You were leaving Brandy Norwood for a Spike Lee video, and the artist is Michael Jackson.
Most definitely. It's just incredible. And then that was following one of the biggest disappointments in your early career. And it's just like you stayed in it and then you persevered through all of that. And so I would love for you to say something, give the audience a few words of encouragement about persevering. I mean, in my career, I always see the downtimes as, stories to tell later. I always try to reframe the negative things that happen and, just look at them as stories to tell. And so I'd love for you to say some encouraging words about adversity and overcoming that.
Adversity is obviously the stage of perfect purification and the opportunity to become your true self. It is a flag of all flags. It is the press that perfects your purpose. And in persevering, you actually endure the process to become great, to become the very best version of yourself, to align yourself with your gift, how it operates, and the purpose of that gift. And it is in Christ, and it is through Christ that all things work together for your good.
Absolutely.
There is no man that can change the narrative of the dream that God gave you and the purpose within that dream. Those are just the facts.
Absolutely.
And so for me, perseverance is the passion of Christ in my life. I persevere to press towards the mark of his promise. And that's the choreography that I want to unleash.
Absolutely.
That mark. And so that's what gets me excited is I have yet to choreograph the all judges, right? So yeah, I mean, that excites me. And then I know the purpose behind that.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that so much. So of all of the people that you've worked with and all the music you've heard over the years, what's been your favorite thing that was like super boom cack that you were just like, wow, this is it. I have to do some choreo to this. Like what's a song or something that you really felt so connected to and that you still feel connected to?
I mean, I love a little bit of everybody. I love all my work I did with Lady Gaga and the Monsters, and I love Nikki, and I love Katie, and I love Puff. I love the Jonas Brothers. I love working with Fantasia. I love Brandy. I love Little Kim. I love Faith Evans. I could go on. Every one of the artists that I've collaborated with and for have a special connection to my gift, and I will respect and adore forever. There is not anyone that I don't feel I did not share a God moment with or a awesome creative experience, even if it did challenge me, even if what was around them was not necessarily for them and I had to fight through that circumstance. The integrity of my gift sustained my character and gave perspective on who I am and what I do.
Absolutely.
Someone else's journey where they may have not been in the best position that they should be in did not affect our connection. So it's been awesome. I love a little bit of everybody.
I love that. I love that. And what's it like to sit on the sidelines and see somebody that you've worked with, like Alicia Keys, come up to be, and Nicki Minaj and Lady Gaga become these prolific stars? What does that feel like?
I'm still interpreting that feeling because it's great. I'm just so happy that Dance Your Dance is up against those narratives. You know what I mean? I'm just so happy. I'm getting ready to drop some more superstars, So glory to God for the timeless effectiveness of my gift. And I am so proud and happy for every one of them. But I am so grateful to God that I truly are standing here with a book that is as inspirational, as powerful, and as relative as anything in the market today. So that makes me feel very happy and very blessed.
I love that. I love that. An artist that we share that we've worked together is Fantasia. She's the last artist I worked with before I retired. I retired from dance in 2016. And so I worked on the Back to Me tour. And so it was such an incredible experience. That's another live band that's just incredible. So
Right.
working with Fantasia is just was a beautiful experience. So indeed. So I'm just wondering what's next for you. So you have this wonderful book out, and what are some things that you really want to accomplish now that you're an author? You've added author to your name. What are some things you want to accomplish?
Well, there are many things at work for Miss Laurieann Gibson, but on today, at this moment, honestly, Lorenzo, I really want to encourage dreamers, visionaries, and everyone that may be feeling frustrated because they're not in alignment with their dream. I really want to inspire them to pick up dance, your dance.
Yes.
Because for me, the passion to unleash a narrative that will help anyone align themselves with their God-given gift is what is exciting me on today. But I have an overwhelming amount of projects coming out in 2021. Again, I am in step 8. I'm living the dream and working every other step continually. And I'm just here to encourage everyone to share this book, read it, pass it on, because
Absolutely.
the new narrative should be not to compare ourselves, but inspire each other in their unique ability to dance their dance and live their dream.
Absolutely. And while people are reading it, I recommend going back and looking at all of the videos that, they're all on YouTube. Just watch the videos alongside this, because it's like that adds so much value to reading the book. You get to see what Laurieann was doing and see the moment that she was in when she was dancing with Mary and Biggie and all of these wonderful artists. I love that part about the story. So since you've been such a huge part of Black history and Black pop culture and pop culture history, when did you know that your work was iconic? Well, there had to be a moment where you just knew that.
No, probably now. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of hot. Yeah, I think now, I think one of the hardest things for me to do is go back and look at my work again, because there's just so much that I have to do and I have inside of me creatively. So I think one of my challenges has been looking at my work. But now, sometimes when I look at it, I'm in awe by the gift that God gave me. If you
Absolutely.
I am in awe of what He gave me and what He trusted me with, and
That's wonderful.
and how wonderfully it works in alignment with what dreams people want to fulfill. So I'm in awe of how incredible of a gift He gave me.
Yes, I think we all are, honestly. I know that I am too. I'm definitely in awe of the gift that God has given you, for sure. For sure. So you said a little bit about comparison. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about what this new Instagram culture and the social media culture does to people's psyche, because I know that individuality is a big part of, the driver of one of your driving forces. Could you say a little bit about how the Instagram and social media culture, you don't really want people to focus on that, to be really, specific about your own individuality?
Yeah, I think there's a overwhelming need to compare yourself. Yeah, it's just part of the algorithm of something like Instagram. And, you have to look at everybody, and sometimes you feel less than, or you might not feel as pretty. I mean, it's filter driven. So it's very easy to fabricate a idea or a lifestyle or communicate something and add to it and create, a delusional version of something.
Most definitely.
Which for me, the power is in the more authentic version, in the narrative of the power of the gift, because then it can continue to grow. It's not just about one moment, one shot, one like. It's about constantly evolving and becoming and owning the power of your gift, which is limitless. So look, we all need Instagram, right? Not need it, but it's part of the entertainment industry. It's part of the
It's the
culture.
thing, indeed.
But that's why I wrote the book, is to create a narrative for someone who's feeling overwhelmed by Instagram. Read
Absolutely.
this book, Dance Your Dance, because you're not going to be overwhelmed when you look at your phone and you see what someone else is doing. You'll be happy for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, what is yours is yours. And as long as you dance your dance and build your Instagram off of your perspective and what is in alignment with your dream, then the empowerment of that is limitless.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And do not skip over the part of training and sustaining. Like you can't just pop up and be, it's not based on followers. It's based on rigorous training and sustaining through that. And
right. So I'd
love to hear what you have to say about that, about training and not popping up as a celebrity one day just because of likes and following.
Well, I also say celebrity doesn't mean you're super talented, right? Okay. But also, Insta is just that. It's overnight. And so sometimes when a young artist or a visionary drops a record or posts something and it doesn't get the reaction right away, they think that it's over, and that's not it. Train to sustain the time period. So you want to seek the knowledge, you want to seek the understanding, you want to seek the training so you can sustain the period and the circumstances that you need to go through to perfect your gift in order to sustain the position that you'll get to when you're living your dream.
Absolutely.
It's not about overnight success. It's not
absolutely
about post and you're supposed to have 100 million likes. And if you don't, that means you're not great. No, right. The process is important. Greatness is in the process because you have to learn how to become that what you dream of. You have to learn how to align yourself with all that you are. And that just doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely not. It really doesn't. And if it does happen overnight, it can be lost overnight. It's not.
And it doesn't happen overnight. If it appears to happen overnight, then there are other challenges that person will face in order to sustain the success. Because once you get there, you got to stay there.
Absolutely.
So there is no such thing as overnight. There will be a responsibility to sustain it. There will be a fight and a challenge to understand how to sustain it. And so their dance is different from someone else's dance.
Most definitely. Most definitely. One of my favorite parts of the book is when P. Diddy actually gave you a shout out at the Clive Davis pre-Grammy Gala. And you actually had a moment to stand and be honored. And so there's so many people that, want to honor you. And so I'm glad that you actually have had a chance to get your flowers while you can smell them and to actually experience your career. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank
you. Sure. And congratulations on the second Making the Band. I'm really excited about the executive director role or executive producer role.
Yes. Well, COVID shut us down. So we're still deciding how that's going to be. But in the beautiful interim of that, I've just sold 2 other reality shows that I'm super excited about. So we're going.
Congratulations.
Exactly.
Have you taken the COVID time to really hone your craft and just, think about new creative projects, or how have you been in this time?
I've been so blessed and also so honored to have had the time to really develop what is now being sold. And as far as the few artists that I have been working with, we've been able to really incubate and go in. And so it's going to be extraordinary. And I got to finish my book. So there's so much that happened for me in COVID. And I think that when it first happened, everybody said, oh, the creative mind and the creative ones would really be okay because it forces you forces you to function outside the box. And so for me, that's one of my gifts. I don't see what's there. I see what's not there. So I was always functioning outside the box, off the grid, outside of the system. So I'm happy that now I get to inspire more people when the system is now broken.
Exactly. It's broken.
Dance, how to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm like, don't fear, guys. Get engaged. Dance your dance. Now more than ever, COVID has unleashed the opportunity for you to rewrite your truth and dance your dance.
Absolutely. Most definitely. One thing I love about your career is that it's come full circle so many times. And I love those full circle moments. And honestly, in my own career, those are the moments that I live for. So I see this as one of those moments for me. So I can only imagine all the ones that you've had.
Yeah,
Are there any?
still having today. And I ran into the producer who first produced me on Making the Band, Perry Dance. And I just started to cry because I was like, oh my God, Perry. Yeah. So, you know, God is always revealing to me that I am in step 7, which is stepping into your purpose. And so when you do have moments like this that are full circle, you now are able to engage in the purpose behind that relationship, right? And then get to the plan of God, get to the purpose, get to the real meat behind the moment, you know, the why to your choreography, the why to your gift, the why to your passion. And for me, Lorenzo, that is so important that every young visionary tap into the reason for this book. Dance your dance and no one else's, because what is so powerful about you is in you dancing your dance, not someone else's. And I think that we don't really have enough people really walking that walk. So some people say it, and then young people are like, yeah, but then you sell out and you go look like that person, or you sell out and then you go do that, you know? There's no selling out here. There is someone who has literally had to dance their dance in order to survive, and now has given you the evidence of that.
Absolutely. I love that the last place, so I had a full circle moment with you recently also. The last place that I taught dance, Maryland Academy of Dance, one of their students actually recreated your parking lot video for Black History Month, and you reposted it the other day. Yeah, so that was a huge full circle moment. And she looked just like you out there. I thought that was such a cool thing.
I know, I was crying. Oh my God, it's
so cute.
Cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's beyond. Yeah.
Indeed. So we have a few minutes left. I just wanted I would love for you to share with us what you want everyone to take away from Dance Your Dance. I can't tell you what I've taken away from it. There aren't even words to describe it. For me, it's so inspirational, and I'm going to read it over and over again. What are some things you want everyone to take away from your first book?
Well, like any 5, 6, 7, 8, step 1, I want you to dare to dream. Step 2, I want you to empower your purpose. Step 3, I want you to train and sustain. That's right, because after you train and sustain, no one can take it away from you once you have developed it. Then I need you to stay in your yes, which means no matter what no you face, you choose your yes and you continue to press.
I love that.
And then I want you to dance your truth once you've pressed. So now once you've pressed into the job, you've pressed into the gig, dance your truth and don't get shifted. Don't get pulled. Don't get drawn into the wrong circles. Don't get drawn into being, whatever you think they need you to be to keep the gig. No, dance your truth. You're worth your truth.
Absolutely.
And then after you dance your truth and everyone's living for you, I want you to find your team. Not the team of yes-agains.
Not the yes-agains, please.
Tell you what you want you to hear, but the team that will help support you in telling you the truth. And after you find your team and all is amazing and all the opportunities are coming your way, I want you to step boldly into your purpose, because there's a design for your life to help others, to create that type of narrative that we all come together collectively to help everyone individually. And then I want you to live your dream boldly.
I love that.
Unapologetically.
I absolutely love that.
And what I want you to take away from this is that there is value in your dream because God gave you that dream.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Laurieann. So one thing I ask God for myself is for the opportunity to thank every person who's inspired my career personally. And so I've had a chance to do that. And I want to take the opportunity to thank you so much for just hanging in there and persevering and for writing this book, because I'm more encouraged than ever to dance my dance. And you've been such a huge part of my career and the inspiration behind my career. So I want to tell you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for encouraging me, Lorenzo, and for both of us together, you know, dancing our dance so we could get to this moment for anyone listening, that they could have the understanding of what our conversation is, which is a testimony to dancing your dance. But I want you to go harder than ever.
Thank you.
I will. To dancing your dance.
Absolutely.
I don't want you to take on anybody else's rhythm. God is the ultimate choreographer, and you know what that's like.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for this. I'd love to invite Nick to come back on screen.
Okay.
Hi, Ms. Laurieann. Thanks so much for being with us. This has been fabulous, and we are so grateful for your spending time with our community here in Prince George's County. So we have a few minutes now for audience Q&A, and I'm going to help you and Lorenzo out with the questions here. So just want to encourage everyone in the audience to type in your questions in the chat. This is your big moment. Expert advice available from Ms. Laurieann. I'm sure there's no question too out there, and I'll start off with one question, Laurieann, if you don't mind. How have you approached the kind of keeping the integrity of your vision in the business side of what you do, whether that's around merchandising or teaching or the production world and choreography as well?
By the freedom of choice, yes. There is integrity behind my work because there's intention behind it. I don't just move to move, or I haven't really been someone who is over-sexualized or want to create something just to create a reaction. For me, I need a why, I need intention, right? And therefore, sometimes that gets challenged. So ultimately, integrity is about making the choice. So I often have to make the hard choice to stick to the integrity of what it is I want to message, the intention of the movement of the piece. And yes, I've had to walk away if that doesn't align itself, but that's what people should know. There will be moments where you will have to make a choice. And what's on the other side of that choice is what will produce your greatness. It's more opportunity to align yourself with more integrity. So it's about making the choice, but there will never be a version where you're not going to make the choice.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much. So we've got our first question in here from our friends at Creative Suitland, which is an awesome arts entrepreneurship hub here in the county. And they're asking if you have any advice for a healthy work-life balance.
Yes. I Netflix and chill.
Yes.
Awesome.
You have to have something that you're equally passionate about that takes you out. So for me, it's about watching. I love period pieces. PBS, old London. I love anything period. It takes me out of modern time, right? I'm also like, you can any day find TBN on in my room or my hotel room. So I literally come out immediately, right? I'm passionate about being in the presence. So you have to find something that you're passionate about in regards to taking you out of your discipline and your dream, and then working that into your life every day. But
Awesome.
It takes a second. But you need that balance, because in the downtime, God is able to regenerate. My creativity is re-inspired. I get a time to rest, and then I'm empowered to go again.
Awesome. Thank you. We have a question from a viewer from Nashville who asks, how did you find your yes, Laurieann?
I was born with my yes.
Awesome. That was short and sweet. There you go. That can be a hashtag, born with my yes. Awesome. Next up, we have a question from Always Dance 17 who asks, what do you do when you get discouraged and unmotivated?
When I get discouraged, and I talk about it in the book, I change the narrative. I understand, okay, I'm feeling discouraged, but why? No, I am not discouraged. I'm encouraged to recognize that as a flag and make a different decision. So I train you to change the narrative. Discouraged is really encouraged to move towards a bigger yes, towards joy, towards something that will make you feel encouraged. It's a flag. It's telling you what you're in is not feeding your soul. It's telling you who you're with is not supporting your dream. It's telling you you may be off the mark a little bit, move to the left, to the right. It's telling you something. It's a flag. So make that decision and receive the encouragement from the decision you make, but don't stay there. It's really a flag. It's not something that should hold you there. It's something there that should move you out of there or move you forward. And I teach you how to acknowledge that and sustain that in dancing your dance, because you will face it. But then you'll understand how to work that step, and it begins to get a little easier to recognize it and be familiar with it. And then you build a muscle to know how to do it better and better and faster and quicker.
Awesome. Perfect reminder to everyone to purchase the book through Loyalty Bookstores. That is the #1 way to support authors, is to purchase the book. And if you'd prefer to get it out of the library, you can borrow it from us too. You can also borrow it and purchase it and give it as a gift. That's a great idea too. Loyalty Bookstores is Black, woman, and queer owned, and we're so proud of having them as a partner here in the county. Next question from Dab Prince 09. Due to COVID, are you creating a new way through social media to hone your craft, like with virtual classes or virtual choreography?
Yes, I have done both. And I also have a virtual artist development camp, the Dream Warrior Academy, and we have dance classes and we're building artists. And yes, 100%, we are living boldly and beautifully in the virtual world, digitally, dancing digitally, and more to come. I have quite a few big announcements as far as like the digital space and my dance community.
Awesome. Well, what's your Instagram handle for folks who are looking to follow you?
Boom Cack.
Amazing.
Laurieann Gibson or Boom Cack. You'll find me very quickly. That's BOLMKACK.
Brilliant. Next question is from Angela Forrest, who's watching from Greenbelt, Maryland, who asks, how do you keep your teams inspired?
My team. My team is designed and aligned to my dream, because their dreams and my dreams collaborate with each other. So we keep them inspired by dancing our dance. Everyone is commissioned to dance their dance. That means don't become me. I don't need to become your dance. You have a rhythm. Together, we are a symphony. We are an incredible ensemble. But everyone is encouraged to dance their dance. And if someone's out of rhythm, then what do? We tell them, keep dancing your dance.
I was going to say buy the book. Next up, we have Celestial Goodness 1111, who asks and states, you said there is no overnight success. In the moments, if there have been, when you have felt like giving up on a dream, how did you keep going?
Celestial, this is a very hard question to answer, and one that I too, if I was a dreamer, I would seek. How in the face of adversity do you keep going? I want you to buy the book, because that has been my dance for a reason. That is why I wrote the book. Because for some reason, God had me in that place more times than I'd like to admit, so that I could actually be a testimony and face you and say, how do I persevere? Okay, the obstacle is giving me and creating an opportunity for me to hang on to the feeling of my dream. That means you have to choose the feeling of your dream over the circumstance. And you should work the steps, because the steps help build the confidence in that process of persevering and not giving up. It's not one thing, it's working the 8 steps that will build the confidence to persevere. So when you feel that adversity, you know how to respond to it. And you have to work those steps. Those steps build a muscle that will kick in when someone tells you, oh, you're fired, you're not good enough. Oh, this opportunity isn't gonna work out. You understand how to resist, retreat from that, and press forward. It's a dance. And once you press forward, guess what's waiting there for you? Another opportunity to confirm the feeling of your dream.
Awesome. I'm going to throw in a question here. Oftentimes we like come to opportunities that are amazing and are perfect and are our dream opportunities, and we're kicking butt with it. But over time, sometimes things change. How do you kind of, in your approach, think about when it's time to move on from something that might have been amazing that you could stick with, but maybe something has changed in the feeling of it, that it's time for you to kind of go and grow with a different opportunity?
Well, I talk about in step 5, dancing your truth. That will happen, right? Because you may get to the point where your truth says, I have to do more because I have more capacity to fill. That means I have more to do. So I teach you to identify with that feeling and it not be a negative thing, but it's a flag. You're dancing your truth. It's another flag that says, I have more capacity to fill. So the time, the duration here has been fulfilled. What I've needed from this opportunity has been met. Dancing my truth means it might be good for everybody else, but there's more capacity in me to produce something greater.
Awesome. We have time for one last question, and we have it from Drew, and he's asked, being a pioneer in the mainstream consumption of dance, how do you determine what opportunities to pursue and stay true to your vision, considering the target audience and public response?
My passion drives my choices. And yes, sometimes the financials at now and then. But never the financial over the passion, honey. Well, maybe, and sometimes no. Based on my purpose and my passion, yes. Because ultimately, what I do, I want to do at the best of my ability, and I want it to be effective and good. And based on the training and the sustaining, I know I have the capacity to do great things. But the purpose is in those things. So I really have to align my choices with my purpose, the integrity of it, the why of it. And I think, yeah, ultimately, how is this going to affect the world? I want to make the world dance. I want to change the narrative. I want to understand and have everyone connect with the power of their dreams, which is where God is, you know? And so the purpose behind everything that I do is really about my messaging.
Awesome. Well, the integrity and the soul comes through in everything that you do, and I know there's a lot of work that goes into that, but we all see it and we appreciate it, and we know that you are you're putting your artistry towards helping others fulfill their own sense of self-worth, and there are not many people who devote themselves to that kind of a mission. So we are forever grateful to you, Miss Laurieann, for joining us tonight. We're so excited to spread the word about your book, get it to more people. We'll keep doing that here at the library. And I know that you have a rehearsal to run to.
Yes.
So we're going to let you go before we close up here with the audience. But thank you so much. And thank you to your team for making this possible. And thank you, Lorenzo and Joy, for making the conversation possible as well.
Thank you, everybody. And Nicholas, thank you so much. And Lorenzo, you know, I love you and everyone. Sure. But most importantly, to my community, and you know who you are, we have to dance our dance unapologetically. There's no more shifting or changing. And there's no more explaining it. There's just being it. And that's why I want you to connect with me, with Mother, and be bold to dance your dance. And no one else's. Okay.
Awesome. Good night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Sure. Take care, everyone.
Well, thank you, everyone. That was awesome. We have Kyla, our friend from the Human Relations Commission, who's got some announcements for you before we disappear. And we encourage you to tune in for Kyla.
All right, thank you very much. That was an absolutely amazing conversation. So I'm so glad to have been able to be part of it. I want to acknowledge Joy, the amazing ASL interpreter, for your wonderful job of being with us tonight. Thank you. And thank you to Lorenzo for moderating. And of course to Laurieann Gibson. Thank her and so much for taking the time to be with us. For those of you watching, you can borrow a copy of her book, Dance Your Dance, from the library, or purchase a copy from the library's partner independent bookstore, Loyalty Books. They have branches in DC and Maryland, and they will also ship to you wherever you are. On behalf of the Prince George's County Human Relations Commission, I want to thank our partners, Joe's Movement Emporium, the PGC Center for the Performing Arts, and of course, the Prince George's County Memorial Library System for bringing Laurieann Gibson to us this evening. And I also want to thank all of you for joining us. We love putting on these programs, and we invite you to check out what else we have coming up. Tomorrow, for instance, we are talking to Prince George's County own World Junior Bull Riding champion, Nicholas Jackson, and his family. That's at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And next week, Monday, we'll be talking to culinary historian Michael Twitty about his new cookbook, Rice, a Savor the South cookbook. Please visit pgcmls.info/events to learn more about all the programming that's coming your way. And again, I want to thank all of the people who work together to bring this event to us this evening, and to Ms. Gibson for the gift of her book and for her words and time this evening. Thank you.